Hey, what's cracking, y'all? Welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast. It's your boy Vashawn, and today we're gonna talk about why me and Wanda don't talk no more.
Oh my God! Here she come! Here come Luwanda.
I'm sorry. Is this?
Are you gonna
Morty?
introduce yourself? Who are you? Oh, I'm Gabby. Hi guys.
We're a wreck.
This is already a mess.
We're all just having a time.
Can we start over?
No.
God damn.
No, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're going with this.
Colin, say
Oh
something about who you are.
I'm Colin, and
so chaotic.
Technically, I was Vishon first, so really, Dallas is the colonizer here. But whatever, man. You do you. Just manifest destinying all over this.
Dear God, I'm Demi. Welcome to another episode of Creative Differences. We have a jam-packed, action-packed, hilarious episode for you guys today. Today we are going to be reviewing three things because this was quite the weekend for content. Well, for movies and television.
Yes, it was. We got Coming to America. We got Raya and the Last Dragon, and we got WandaVision, which explains all of that nonsense we started this podcast with.
So buckle up, guys, because we're going on a journey.
Before we go on this journey, please like and subscribe because it's Women's History Month, and this podcast is 50% women. Boom. Celebrate.
There's a lot of women in the things we're talking about today. So many.
That's true. They everywhere.
They almost outnumber the men.
They might. I haven't done the math.
Yeah, with Raya, yeah.
All right. But first, the one that's not female-led, sorry. Coming to America.
Coming to America. But still has a lot to say about women.
It does. I like that.
How many of us watched it?
I assume everybody except Colin.
I watched it.
Okay, cool.
I did my homework. Aren't you proud of me?
I am very proud of you. Dallas, go ahead and start your intro.
Let's do it. So Coming to America, not to be confused with Coming to America, is directed by Craig Brewer, who made Hustle and Flow, Black Snake Moan, Dolomite Is My Name, written by Kenya Barris, and the two guys who did the first one, Barry W. Blaustein and David Sheffield. Kenya Barris, you may know because he created Blackish, and he wrote Girls Trip and Barbershop The Next Cut, which explains why they decided to name drop the Barbershop movies in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Oh, right. Okay, I get it. Little self-promo.
I do
It's
like
funny.
Beauty Shop, though. I really do like
Yeah,
that one.
solid.
So do
It's a
I.
solid franchise.
I was very excited when they mentioned Beauty Shop. I was like, yeah, I love that movie.
It works out. Which is funny because in our throwback episode, I mentioned wondering what this movie would look like, or what the first movie would look like if it wasn't made by all white people. And now it's not. Black director, a black writer.
No. Craig Brewer is a white dude.
Craig Brewer's a white dude?
Craig Brewer is white, my guy.
It's funny. I didn't look up who Craig Brewer was. I just looked up like what he's done, and I saw Hustle and Flow and Dolomite Is My Name and assumed it was a black dude.
No, he's white.
Yo, that's a white dude made Hustle and Flow?
Yeah, it's a white dude. This dude right here.
What is that hat?
That is a very white
that's the
man.
whitest man. I have some questions.
You know what just happened? This is like when everybody found out that Bobby Caldwell. And then you look at Bobby Caldwell and he is very white.
Oh, that's so weird. That's
So
crazy.
weird.
So that's
Wow.
another one of your fun facts for the day. Craig Brewer is actually a white man.
I
But
know
we got Ruth E. Carter on costumes, and Ruth E. Carter did the costumes for Black Panther, and she killed it on this movie as well.
It showed. I loved
Very
it.
dope,
I was
very
like, this
dope.
looks vaguely familiar, and I'm here for it.
Who's in this movie, Dallas?
I'm sorry. I'm still taken aback. I'm just picturing a white dude in Hustle and Flow's recording, like, whoop that trick, get it, whoop that. And this is a white dude directing. Anyway, this movie stars Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Jermaine Fowler, Leslie Jones, Wesley Snipes, every other famous black person. There's so many people. And then, everybody was in the first one, except for Matt Sinclair, rest in peace. The summary is the African monarch, Akeem, learns he has a long-lost son in the United States and must return to America to meet this unexpected heir and build a relationship with his son. Gabby,
C.
what'd you think? You like it?
How do I had a good time watching it. I really
Fair.
enjoyed watching it. Now, so I guess I did like it just because I had a good time watching it. Like, do I think it's a good movie? No. But do I think you should see it if you're a fan of the original? Absolutely. It's a good time.
Interesting.
Also, I have never seen Wesley Snipes have such a good time in my entire life. He
Yo, he was
really enjoying himself. Like I don't think I've ever seen him smile this much either. He's normally kind of like this cool brooding dude or very serious, but oh my god, he was having so much fun.
Yeah, when he was doing his little strut, he was great.
And like anytime he danced, oh, anyway,
Mhm.
so that part I did enjoy about the movie, that like it's a nice trip down nostalgia lane. If you like the first one, you'll probably like this one. And that Wesley Snipes was having a fantastic time.
To me, while I come to terms with the fact that the guy who made Hustle and Flow is white, can you tell us what you thought about this movie?
Yeah, sure. While you process that, I thought it was a very fun movie, very funny. I had a great time watching it with my mom, who's a fan of the original. I'm also a fan of the original, obviously. And it just, like Gabby said, like she said, Wesley Snipes looks like he had fun making it. It looked like everybody really enjoyed making the movie. You can kind of feel that coming off the screen as you're watching it. It feels like a celebration of the first film and its success over the years. And that's really cool. And I was glad to see Kiki Lane continue to be a badass on screen. She was dope. I loved it. So happy to see her thriving and just out here. I love it.
I
Dallas,
agree.
what'd you think?
Yeah, a little bit of all of that. It had its moments. From what I can tell, I haven't looked up a lot of reviews or anything. This movie seems like kind of divisive among fans of the original. Some people are like, "Oh, it's such a fun time," and some people are like, "No, it's a bastardization of the franchise." Yeah, it had its moments. It's pretty funny here or there. There's stuff that made me roll my eyes, but I think what I was telling Kayla was I watched the first one like a week ago, and I watched it through the lens of someone watching a movie from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't have that. So I was like, some of the humor that really just felt eye rolly to me was like, I would have given you this pass if this movie came out in 88,
Yeah.
but not like 32 years later. But I will say, Jermaine Fowler is great.
He's always great.
Yeah, I think he's the reason I
Yeah.
like this movie so much, because just seeing everything through him, the scene where he is introduced, like that first job interview scene, kind of felt like it made it more of
Colin
a
Yost?
modern movie. Yeah.
With
That
Colin
was
That was
Jost,
great.
who has a book that's called A Very Punchable Face. And
I've seen that.
yes, he was fully punchable face, like. And then when you think about he's married to Scarlett Johansson, you just
Yeah, I
want,
was like, hey, it's Scarlett Johansson's
more.
husband.
you just want to punch him a little more. Yeah, so he played his part perfectly. But yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It almost felt old-fashioned movie. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, because like what you said, there are some jokes in it where like, yeah, if they'd been made in 1990 and I was watching a movie from 1990, then I would have been like, oh, it's fun, it's funny.
Yeah.
But because it was made now, I certainly feel like the jokes were a little bit, how do I put this? Yeah, they just seemed really old-fashioned, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Or like people were trying to emulate the first movie super hard, including all of the comedy.
I think my favorite part of the movie was whenever they would actually reference the first movie in their jokes and stuff like that. I just thought that was usually really, really funny. Like, I loved that they kind of referenced the original film with, like, when you first meet the woman that they want Akeem to marry, there's a dance number. Well, they bring that back for the sequel. And I was like, this is so hilarious that they're just going to do this again. Like, I like the callbacks to the original movie. I thought that they were really well done. A little over the top at times, but still like
Yeah.
really funny and a lot of fun. Like the musical number when, the really big musical number in the movie
Mm-hmm.
when one of the characters first appears for the first time. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a huge ordeal. And I thought that was cool.
Are you talking about when Izzy's daughter shows up?
Yeah, when Tiana
Oh.
Taylor pops in.
That was so great.
Oh.
And like kind of jarring because like Jermaine Fowler just starts rapping.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like,
Yeah.
are you part of this? Because it just felt like,
he was like, no, I'm just really good at like
Yeah, they
freestyling on
took-
the spot.
they took like this scene from the original movie and then they were like, all right, let's make it bigger for the second one.
Right.
And it's so funny.
That's one of those points where the movie went like, how did we say, like they kind of overdid it, but I feel like it was appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since the first movie was not very like what phrase did we use last time? Well, I can't remember. But the first movie was a lot quieter and smaller in terms of like its like grandness. And I feel like so when this movie went big, it was really big, but I felt like it fit, if that makes sense. Especially since it's the second one, they're trying to do things a little bit bigger, a little bit
Yeah.
better.
Yes. Also, this movie kind of continues with its amazing cameos from random people.
Yeah, man, they had freaking In Vogue out here dressed like the Powerpuff Girls. That was fun.
Yeah, there are a few others in there. I don't want to name them off because I think it's way more fun to see them when they pop in.
Okay, I did. There
But
was one that I'll leave out. I'll bring it up out off mic, but like there was a joke in it that I felt like, oh, come on, we're really doing that. But then there's a reveal that makes the joke worth it because it's a cameo, and I'll tell you guys later. But I was like, oh, that's actually really good.
yeah, don't want to spoil it too much.
Is it a spoiler if I talk about the the song in the credits? Like late in the
Oh,
credits.
yeah. She's your queen.
Yes, by John Legend.
That was amazing.
That was so good. I did not expect that. I was like, they're doing She's Your Queen. Oh my god, it's John Legend.
Yeah. Also, I love that it was like you could tell they were like, John, could you record something for us really quick? And he's like, sure, I got the iPhone right here. It just looked like something so last minute, but I loved it so much. And I love the excessive eye contact that he made.
he was really in it.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say about this movie.
Yeah, it had its moments. It was pretty fun here and there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it feels like a sequel for a movie that came out a long time ago because that's what it is.
But yeah, the clothes were popping.
They were.
Oh god.
Would you say
it was
Ruth
so
E. Carter
good.
did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
It
on
was
point.
great.
Also,
Yeah.
we got some little fight scenes here and there. I was like,
Oh
okay.
yeah. I just
Yeah,
liked-
more than we did in the
Kiki
first one.
Lane.
Oh, Kiki killing it out there, man.
Also, man, Tiana Taylor. I just have a note written down that just says Tiana Taylor. So do with that what you will. And
Wesley Snipes was just like so great in this movie.
he was having fun.
I like him so much just from this movie. Like I haven't really watched the rest of his filmography, but I love it.
You should see Dolomite Is My Name, which is apparently made by a white guy. He's in it, and it's great.
Yeah. I've only recently, like the most recent Wesley Snipes movie I watched was Blade 3, Blade Trinity.
Goodness, what was that, like 15 years ago?
No, but
Yeah,
I watched
somewhat.
it like last month.
Fair.
Yeah, but he's saying most recently that's 15 years
Oh,
ago.
I'm so sorry. No,
Yeah,
I
like
meant like
that's-
the most recent like performance that I've watched of his.
Yeah.
Not
just-
that came out.
all
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of action sequences earlier, next up we have Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yes.
Oh,
Talk about
so
freaking
good.
action. Raya is directed by Don Hall, who directed Big Hero 6 and co-directed Moana, and Carlos Lopez Estrada, who made Blind Spotting, which is
2 for 2.
Just
We
one of-
don't miss.
he don't miss. One of the best movies ever made. So
Yep.
shout out to Carlos. You're undefeated. You're on your way to being one of my favorite directors. It's also written by Qui Nguyen and Adele Lim. And Adele wrote Crazy Rich Asians, which I did not know, but now I do. Stars Kelly Marie Tran, Aquafina, Isaac Wang, Gemma Chan, Benedict Wong, bunch of other people. Sandra Oh's in
Sandra
there.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody's in there.
It's a good time.
It is a good time. Summery time. In a realm known as Daniel Day Kim. Can't leave him off because he's one of my favorite people. In a realm known as Kumandra, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the last dragon. Nice and simple.
How y'all feel about the movie, y'all?
Well, Gabby has her mouth full, so I'm gonna jump in first. No, Colin's gonna jump in first because he wasn't talking for the last 15 minutes. Colin.
Me. I liked it. And first of all, it was beautiful because Jesus, like the shit they did with light and color and just everything was like, okay, Disney, we get it. You have all the money in the world and you can underpay 1,000 people to make this movie look good as shit. Yeah, I'm say it. Fuck them. I don't care. Like I do think it
They were
kind
going
of
pretty hard with it.
went a little too hard on its messaging. Like you could make a drinking game out of the number of times one specific word was said in the movie. Like we get it, but I guess that's just what they do. And I felt like the pacing, like it's not something I usually notice in movies, but in this one it felt like some parts went too fast, some parts went too slow, but overall it was pretty solid. I like it.
Fair. I'm never one to complain about pacing in a movie, but like I see what you're saying. This is one of the things that like when before everyone was a film person, like the only people I would hear talk about pacing would be the ones who want to show that they're a film person. So you just feel like, oh yeah, what'd you think of this movie? I thought it was good, but the pacing was just a little off. And it's like, all right, relax. Calm down, Bailey. But I love you, Bailey, if you're listening.
Bailey about to shut it off. She's like,
Jesus.
I'm done with this.
Bailey's one of my favorite people, but he is the filmiest person. I love Bailey so much. I miss him. What were we talking about? Raya. Yeah, I liked it. It was super dope. The action was great. Aquafina is one of my favorite people, and she is so amazing. I already liked the movie before she shows up. Unfortunately, she shows up pretty early, like less than half an hour in. But it just got so much more enjoyable when she pops in. She just brings this energy to everything. And it's like, Aquafina, I want everything. I want the best for you always. And I'll elaborate on that after we get to Gabby and Demi's thoughts. Gabby?
I liked it. I thought, obviously, I felt like this was something right up my alley. I really, really liked it. I thought it was really sweet. The visuals also, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I really liked the way that they showed dragon powers, if that makes sense. Like, particularly the rain. That was like, to
It was
me,
super
when I
dope.
saw that, I thought it was really, really cool. I also agree with Colin that the theme was a little bit heavy handed, but then I reminded myself this is a movie for children. Um, I was like, this is for kids, Gabby. Like, it was one of those moments where I was like, like, and then I was like, wait a minute, this movie was not made for you. It's made for children. So, I had to get over the heavy handed theme part. Kelly Marie Tran was amazing in it. She was so great. I loved her so much. I don't really want to reveal anything, but for me, the movie had an ending that was not exactly predictable, which I really liked. I was like, "Oh, I was a little bit surprised there." And I like this. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more clear, and then it wasn't. It surprised me, and I really like that.
Demi.
So I think everything about this movie is absolutely wonderful. I've legitimately watched it 3 times before recording this podcast. I love it. It's easily one of my favorite Disney films. Like you guys said, it's gorgeously animated. I thought the mythology was really cool. The characters are a lot of fun. And like we were talking about, the cast is amazing. I love Kelly Marie Tran. I love seeing her thrive because I loved Rose in Star Wars. So getting to see her do this, and she just brings Raya to life so well. She brings so much life to that character. Aquafina is always amazing. And Gemma Chan is somebody who I'm a huge fan of. Didn't even know she was in this movie until like a month before the movie was coming out. She plays Namari. It's just so I know what Gemma Chan sounds like in my head, but I don't hear her in this movie because she's using an American accent and I've never seen her do that before. So I can't connect her voice to her face. So it really does feel like Namari is like her own person. Like I can't connect that to Gemma, even though I know it is Gemma Chan. I think she does such a great job. We were talking about the action sequences, dope as hell, so good. The credit song is vibey. I love it. Janae Aiko, killing it, you know. I need a sequel. Let's get a sequel, man. I want it so bad. I wish that we were not still in a freaking quarantine so that I could see this movie in a theater because it would
Me
have been
too.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, all those colors and those contrasts in a theater.
Even better, I got to watch it. We got a new TV a few months ago, and I forgot that our TV has a filmmaker mode on it. So I watched it on filmmaker mode and just I'm never watching another movie on my living room TV without filmmaker mode again.
What does
Like
it
I love it.
do?
So for anybody who doesn't know what filmmaker mode is, in recent years, a lot of filmmakers have been getting upset that TVs now come with a default mode that includes motion smoothing because it makes everything look like a soap opera and it's ugly. So TV create people whatever they've created a mode on a picture setting on your TV that emulates what the filmmakers want the movie to look like. So it takes out all the post processing that TVs typically do when you're watching them, and it changes the setting to a standard that is supposed to be if you are in a movie theater. So I would not recommend using filmmaker mode if you're not watching it in a dark room because the dark scenes will be dark, bright scenes will be as bright as they're supposed to be. It's a little dimmer because this is what it's supposed to look like. So it takes out all the processing that your TV does before it even reaches your screen. So highly recommend if you have a filmmaker mode, try it out with your TV when you're watching a movie next time. So it's fantastic. I love it. It's great. Never watching a movie on my living room TV the same way again. Because I am one
Filmmaker
of those
mode.
film snobs that Dallas was talking about.
Yes, to me and Bailey. Uh, before I say anything else, I do want to shout out Christy.
Oh
Christy,
yeah,
if you're
Yeah,
listening,
Christy!
Yay! He
Yes.
worked on the movie.
Yes, Christy has popped up in the credits for Moana, Big Hero 6, and Raya. And every time I see her name, I get super excited. I never know what the thing means that she's credited for, but I don't care. It's always like, Christy's here. So yeah, shout out to
I'm so
Christiana.
like happy, so happy for her. Like I've known her since kindergarten, quite literally. And so
Yeah.
like in elementary school, I used to see her draw stuff. And so to be like adults now and to see her name on Disney movies, that's like
Yes.
crazy.
It is
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
And now I
Love
like
her.
go into the credits looking for them. But the first time when I think I was watching Big Hero 6, I didn't know about it until I think I'd seen it the first time. And I was like, Christiana? What? Christy? But yeah, shout out to her. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Best.
But yeah, back to the movie. Aquafina, man. She's so dope.
She is.
It's funny being someone who knows Aquafina from being a YouTube rapper because she came to prominence with a song called My Vag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Yes.
just like seeing how far she's come. She's done everything. Like she's a YouTube rapper, friends with Dumbfounded. Shout out to Dumbfounded, also in the movie.
Yes.
which made
Wait,
me
who did
super
he
excited.
play?
He was the flower
was-
guy.
Yeah, they got the
I
Chai.
knew it. I was
Yes.
right. Sorry, I'm so excited.
It was so funny. Yeah, I saw a tweet I saw him tweet like, "Oh, I was in Ride Last Dragon." I was like, "Oh, dope." And then you guys said Flower Guy. This is before I saw the movie, but as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, I paused it and I looked at Kayla and I said, "That's Dumbfounded." I got so excited.
I love him so much.
He's so great. But yes, he and Aquafina are friends, and they both came up rapping on the internet. And just to see like where she's come from YouTube rapping, making a My Vag song, and then she got a show on Comedy Central. She got a Golden Globe for The Farewell. She's been a Crazy
Mhm.
Rich Asian. Like she's done Disney. She's done
She's about to do
like-
Marvel.
Yeah.
Right, she's in Shang-Chi, right?
Yep.
She's everywhere.
It's like
Comedy Central.
Aquafina, we made it.
Aquafina, I'm so happy for her. She's great. And she was so much fun to see too. And she like her voice, she has that recognizable
Yes.
voice that just brings a presence to a role. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And to what Gabby said earlier about like, oh yeah, this movie's made for kids. I feel like we've gotten spoiled by Disney just making such amazing movies that sometimes I forget, hey, this is made for kids. Like it's just
Yeah.
really good. Especially because I always think of the
Yeah.
Incredibles movies. And especially the second one, like you could say that's a kid's movie, but that movie's made for us. So then when I watch a
That
Disney
one
movie,
maybe kind of was.
yeah, they're talking about like, oh, the cynic in me says da 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 da. Like that never made for no kids. But yeah, so I watch a Disney movie and I'm like, oh, it's so good. And then I'm like, oh, they're kind of hitting the messages a little hard. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's for kids.
Yeah, I didn't mind that so much though. That didn't bother me a lot. Mostly because I don't think we've gotten a lot of movies quite with the same type of message, I would say. Not in this way.
Yeah,
Not from
a
this
little
angle
bit.
either. But like, yeah, talking about Disney, like it's so cool that I feel like Disney's evolution of Disney princesses has finally reached like what I've always wanted since I was a child. Because as a kid, I loved Disney princesses, like of course. Like I grew up watching Disney movies. I love Disney princesses. But my mom says when I was 5, I said I wanted to be Aladdin when I grew up, and I guarantee you it was because Aladdin got to play with swords and he got to do parkour around Agrabah and he like got to do all the cool stuff. And now we have Disney princesses who get to do the cool stuff. Raya gets to go around with a sword and like look awesome fighting people. And the same with Namari. Raya and Namari are easily like 2 of my favorite Disney princesses now. Like I'm like, give me all the merchandise for Raya and Namari because they're so cool. And they're so complex too. They're not simple characters. Like they're
Yeah.
not perfect. Raya is allowed to be
Exactly.
angry and to go into a rage. And Namari is allowed to
Yeah.
make mistakes and grow as a person. And like I really love that about them. I'm like, yes, Disney has finally reached the Disney princesses that I would love. Like I love Esmeralda and Jasmine and all of them. I love them all. But I was ready for like
Yeah.
an action oriented princess, and we're finally starting to get a lot more of those now, which is super cool to me.
Yeah.
Also, Raya and Namari, just the ship is real, my guy. The ship is real. Fun
Okay,
fact.
okay. I'm not the only one then.
Absolutely not. Fun fact:
I was
Depla,
like, ooh, what's this?
they call each other Depla almost throughout the movie. Depla, somebody looked it up, and they Google translated it, and it means beautiful.
Nice.
It also supposedly means best friend, but it
That
does
makes sense.
also mean pretty and beautiful. And that's what Raya and Namari were calling each other for most of the movie, despite
What's
being
the
enemies.
other thing?
Bentari?
Yeah.
Bintari, yeah, Bintari. It's just an insult. I think that they.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they made it up for the movie or if it just doesn't have a translation, but it's
Oh,
just an
okay.
insult.
It means you a hoe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what hijo de puta. I mean, no, that's not what that means.
You know who else ships Raya and Namari? Do you?
Kelly Marie
Do
Tran?
you? Yes, she does. She said that she actually was including it in her voice acting.
The whole, what's they call it? Enemies to lovers thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a thing that you guys are into.
No, not always. Gabby is super into it all the time.
Gabby's not.
I'm very particular about my enemies to lovers ships, man. Has to be
Okay.
done in a certain way. But yeah, also I wanted to bring up Deechin Lockman is in this movie, and I love her. She has a very, very small role, but I was so excited to see her name in the credits because I didn't know she was in this movie. I love her so much. She was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and in Dollhouse, and she's dope. I also think she came to our theater one time. I think I saw her, and I wanted to say hi. Shout out to the crew of Raya and The Last Dragon, because some of them, quite a bit of that movie was made at home during the quarantine. Kelly Marie Tran and all the actors said that they recorded all of their lines from home quarantine, so they like never met each other.
Wow. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I like that. Good for them.
Also, last thing, Tuk Tuk is amazing. One of the best Disney animated animal sidekicks that you can possibly get.
He was so cute. I would die for you, Tuk Tuk.
All he wants to do is eat.
Yeah, agreed. He's adorable.
It's so
Oh,
cute.
we didn't talk about what's his name? Chief Boone? Captain Boone? The kid.
Oh,
he
Boone
was
is
so
great.
cute. And the dad, we didn't talk about the dad either.
That's true. But the kid is just, he's so dope. Shout out to Isaac
Yeah,
Wayne.
I wanted to hold him.
Like I said in when I was giving my kind of review, like the characters are just amazing, just in general. Like we gave a lot of attention to Raya and Namari and Sisu because they're kind of our three leads, but like everybody's pretty great. But yeah, final thoughts. I thought it was amazing. Animation is definitely gorgeous. You should watch at least for the animation.
Yeah. The movie's great. I love it. Everything Demi said. Animation's great. Fighting's great. Aquafina's great. Dumbfounded's great. Christie's great.
Everybody in the movie's
Moving
great,
on.
guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really liked it.
Oh, also, I was calling Namari undercut
Ugh, Princess Undercut.
since she showed up.
And then she called it.
And then when she actually said it, I was so vindicated. I was like, oh my God, they acknowledged it. Okay, cool. So I was like, they really got her out here with the undercut fade.
I love how she was like, I know how to push her buttons. And I was like, you do, don't you?
Hey there, Princess Undercut. It has the same energy as Hey Adora. Literally all they do is flirt and then exchange punches at each other. Next up, we should talk about some more superheroes, which would take us to WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Oh my God.
WandaVision, WandaVision.
Yes. Created by Jack Schaefer, who co-wrote.
Yes. Sorry, I'm
who
excited
co-wrote
about
the-
Jack Schaefer because she also wrote the Black Widow movie. And because this show was so good, that means the Black Widow movie should be pretty great.
Yes. Black Widow, Captain Marvel, and The Hustle.
Oh, The Hustle too.
And
Damn. He
Right?
really writes like female driven pieces.
She. That is a she.
Yes, she
Jack
does.
is a she.
Sorry.
Her name is Jacqueline.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
didn't
sorry.
know that until
See, we're all learning
we're learning all
things.
kind of things today. Craig Brewer's white, Jack Schaefer's a woman. We're learning everything
Oh
today.
my God.
And also, all of the episodes were directed by Matt Shackman.
Yep. They did it like a
Which I didn't
miniseries.
realize he directed every episode. Good job, Matt. Good job, Jack. Yes, and he's directed episodes of The Great, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Fargo, Game of Thrones. Dude's been everywhere. And it stars Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Kathryn Hahn, Tiana Paris, Randall Park, and some other
Kat
Dennings.
people who... Yes, Kat Dennings. Okay, I wanted to avoid all the, like, reveal people.
Yeah, but Kat
But
Dennings
Kat's
was
not one
coming
of those.
back. So
Exactly. Shout out to Darcy. Summary. Blends the style of classic sitcoms with the MCU in which Wanda Maximoff and Vision, two superpowered beings living their ideal suburban lives, begin to suspect that everything is not as it seems. That's kind of what happens.
I mean, that is what happens.
I think anything else would be revealing. So
What were your thoughts on this 9-episode series? Now that it's all over and done with.
Gabby, you look sad.
It broke my heart, but in the best way. It was so good.
Right?
Also, it just makes me more of a Catherine Hahn fan. Like more of a. I feel like I'm a stan now. I'm definitely a Catherine Hahn stan. But yeah, it kind of breaks your heart. It does beat the theme over your head a little bit, but once again, I had to remind myself this is a show made for children. So
It is definitely not made for
Yeah.
children.
What?
Also, I wouldn't even.
MCU's for
WandaVision
kids.
is not for kids.
I also
Like, I
wouldn't say
thought-
that this show beats the theme over your head. Not until we get towards the end. It's for family.
Yeah, but that's what I meant.
There are things in it that kids will enjoy, but I do not think the whole, like, I think when they were writing this, they were not aiming it at children because the themes in this are pretty deep, and they're not like, it's not like Raya where it's like, you know what you need to do? You need to do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. This is more like, watch this woman fall apart.
Yeah, kids love that.
I'm like, I don't think kids are really into that.
I love calling I think is it episode 8? I love calling episode 8 the one where Wanda goes to therapy.
Yeah,
sort
that
of.
was a little bit.
You know what? Yeah, in a sense. You like dig up your past trauma and you like
actually
work
face
through
it
it.
for the
And
first time in several years.
Because if there's
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
kids love, it's past trauma.
No.
And Dick Van Dyke.
I mean, what kid can't relate to a bomb going off near your home? Like, what? That's what they like. That's what the kids are into these days.
Yeah, my
Trauma.
9-year-old.
And grief,
My
wailing in the streets. Yeah, that's what the kids are into.
Anyway, more thoughts from you guys?
Um
I'm just picturing like Gabby's thought. I'm picturing like, Jack Schaefer and Matt Shackman are in the studio and they're writing their freaking Dick Van Dyke references and they're like, oh, the kids are gonna love this.
well, well, in my head it's for it's if we're saying it's for family, then it's also supposed to be written with children in mind, right? So that's why I'm like,
No.
I guess my whole thing was like, I would have like, so there's like some emotions that they bring up a lot, and I'm like, it just feels like, this was very obvious as that's what this character's going through. So why did we need to say it so many times?
I'm gonna disagree with you on this point, just because I don't think it becomes that big of a deal until we get close to the end of the entire series.
Fair.
Yes. I thought the show was great.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's get back to the Dallas.
Let's do the thing we're supposed to be doing.
Sorry.
Yeah, great show. I really, really enjoyed it just because I'm, one of the biggest MCU fans out there, but even I can acknowledge that it's a lot of punching and a lot of, blue beams in the sky.
Yeah.
It's a lot of,
Lots of colorful things just being thrown at each other.
yeah, all the things that pretentious people say to be dicks about it. Like, there's a nugget of truth in all those criticisms. You just don't have to be a dick about it when you
Yeah.
say it. But this show, after 23 movies?
Yep.
24 movies? 23 movies.
23.
It's like, oh, we're doing something very different. And that made me so excited just to see, yeah, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Like, we have some of the best creative teams out there. We've created some of the most successful franchise, like movies and TV shows out there. We're not just confined to let's punch each other.
Although that's where it does get to, but
Of course,
I mean,
yeah,
there
it's
has
still
to be
Marvel.
a little bit of that, but
Somebody got to throw hands.
I agree with you though. I feel like it proves again that superhero isn't necessarily a particular genre. You can
it's not a one size fits all.
exactly. There's just like the different heroes can have different vehicles and different style and different stories because they were made to be individuals, right? So just because somebody's a superhero doesn't mean that every superhero movie is the same. They can all fall under different genres, but for some reason, just because someone's in a cape and a leotard, it's just one thing.
I feel it. Colin,
Me.
you like robots. What'd you think of the show?
Yeah, WandaVision. It's like, the thing is, I've been thinking actually that after I'm done watching the show I'm currently watching, which Demi will have to circle back to that because it involves you. I think I might want to rewatch the MCU because I just feel like I don't get what everybody gets about it. I don't get why people think it's this amazing thing, and I want to, because WandaVision, I get what it is, and as a character study, it's a really cool idea. There's not a ton of like these are just people shooting lasers at each other. Like, that's not what this show is. And it's like, it could be really cool, but I just didn't connect with it. I was in it for one thing, and I got a little bit of that one thing, and then the rest of the show was not about that. So it was like,
Right. This isn't that show.
it's there. They're sad. There's some sitcoms. I really don't like sitcoms, so I did not vibe with that. I tell you what.
But Colin, the Bewitched references were for the children.
That's
for
not
you.
what I was
They were for the
saying.
7-year-olds watching
So,
at
I'm
home.
saying, like, oh my God. I don't really like sitcoms either. But I somehow did enjoy this for some reason.
Gabby's lying
I
to
feel
us.
like I don't believe you, Gabby, because you watch more sitcoms
Really?
than the rest of us.
You know what it is? I don't like those like one camera like audience sitcom.
You don't
Those
like
are the-
multicam. You
Yeah,
don't like
those are the ones I
multicam
don't like.
sitcoms.
Okay.
If
I was
everything
like-
else that I watch is sitcoms, then I don't like multi-camera.
I was like, Gabby just
Right,
gonna
I
lie
was
to
like,
us.
Gabby just
okay,
lied
that's what we're
straight
doing.
to our
I don't
faces.
like multi-camera sitcoms because like I can't really get into like The Big Bang Theory or that kind of style.
Well, you shouldn't. The Big Bang Theory is trash. But I mean,
That's the
like,
style
that
that I'm
style. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So the Fresh Prince of Bel Air is a multicam sitcom.
Yeah, but I think it's like
Yeah, that show's amazing.
I don't know. I can't like Full House and
And I will
stuff.
fight anyone who
well,
says
no, I
otherwise.
did like Family Matters. I don't know. I think the newer done ones I can't get into. Like I like things like single camera ones. I think I just like better.
Gabby just lying out here.
Right? Just lying to us. I'm gonna hit lying to us, telling us that WandaVision's for children. Like, what is happening here? So we're gonna jump from Colin's end of the spectrum to mine. Like Dallas, I am a huge fan of the MCU. Love almost everything that they've put out. Yeah, almost everything that they put out. I loved every second of this show from start to finish. It is such a fantastic homage to sitcoms and the evolution of television. Every technical decision that they make on it is just so good. From changing your aspect ratios to fit the time period that we're referencing, to the jokes, to the way that the show is written, to the way that Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are acting, which is phenomenal, by the way. All the acting on this show is incredible. Even the supporting characters and background characters are
Yeah.
doing amazing work. But Elizabeth and Paul especially are just giving their all to these characters, especially Elizabeth. Elizabeth Olsen is doing an amazing job as Wanda Maximoff on this show. Just so good.
Yeah.
From changing her accent every episode to having to change between accents in the middle of episodes to bringing out character mannerisms and tweaks and nuances that I didn't even know she had given the character until I was watching a show that was only about her. Things that she had already developed in Age of Ultron, in Civil War, in all these movies that she's already done. Things that wouldn't have been noticed because she's been a supporting character up until now. And it really reignited my love of the MCU's version of Scarlet Witch. I loved Scarlet Witch after watching Age of Ultron. I thought she was so cool. And then she plays a backup character for the rest of the time that she's ever on screen. So to see her on a TV show and get to see Wanda Maximoff be just at full force at the front, amazing. And the same thing with Vision. Like, I didn't really care much about Vision, but like this show made me care about both of those characters a lot more. And I can't wait to see what comes up next for Wanda, especially after that post-credit scene at the for the last episode. I am so excited about Tiana Paris playing Monica Rambeau. Cannot wait to see what else happens with Monica Rambeau. Tiana did an amazing job playing Monica. Like, they set out to do something and they accomplished it. And they did it well. And I loved that they finally kind of talked about how Wanda really doesn't know what the heck she's doing with her powers. She doesn't actually know what she's doing most of the time. And I like that they finally dealt with Wanda's grief. And I felt like this was a great way to do it. And it was an interesting way to do it. And it was something completely different from what we get from the MCU. But also it was something familiar for people who are into the MCU usual superhero cape shit fare. Those are my thoughts on WandaVision.
Yeah, all that.
Also,
I thought it was
Catherine
impeccable. Oh, Catherine Hahn is so good too. Dear God. Like I said, everybody's just great on this show. They're so good.
She's so great.
Also, there is
Hahn.
the wardrobe in this show is amazing. There is one particular wardrobe piece in the finale. Yes. Just yes. There were several moments during this show that I wanted to cheer out loud for certain things that were happening. And that's what I want out of my superhero, whatever I'm watching that has superheroes. I want to be able to cheer and I want to be excited about the things that I'm watching. And WandaVision did that for me. For a show that I was not initially excited about when they first announced it, it was so good.
I didn't really get it until, I mean, apparently nobody was going to get it until we actually started watching it, right? And I was just like, well, what's the appeal to making a show about two characters that are like kind of, I wouldn't even call them like Team B. I would call them like Team C in terms of the MCU, just because they're really not given that much screen time or attention.
Not
I
since
feel
Age
like.
of Ultron, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, exactly. Like, and Vision barely was only in like half that movie.
He was in the third act. That
But-
was it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A third of the movie, not even the whole thing. But like now I totally get it. And I'm like, this was a great idea. And they did like a classic Wanda Maximoff like story from the comics that everybody really likes. But I mean, how it was one of those things where it's like, would the MCU handle this, especially considering like they don't tend to be like gritty or hyper realists. Like it tends to be a softer ish storyline. So they still did a great job
They
with it.
lean into the comic book.
Yeah, and I think that's their saving grace. Wow, so good. And then I like that it took characters that in other movies had been like almost cameos and gave them a little bit more time and spotlight. And now I feel like I really like these characters that before were just like, okay, he's here. Cool.
Yeah.
um,
Jimmy Woo.
yeah.
Also, more mature Darcy is a delight.
I like Darcy so much more now.
Darcy, I love her. I'm so glad she's back. I'm so glad they like brought her back. Like, and
she will continue to be back.
She will?
Yeah, she's already announced that she's already signed on to do other things within the MCU. So she's coming back for more things after WandaVision.
Yay!
Nice.
But I agree with you. This show's like amazing.
Yeah. Sounds like we all enjoyed ourselves.
Except Colin.
I don't think he didn't enjoy himself.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
But I also want to say, like, I feel like my like criticism was more nitpicky, TBH, because this is a pretty great show.
I agree. Ah, man, there's so many things I want to say that I can't because everything would be spoiled. But I do want to talk about this show as it relates to fan theories is exhausting.
What?
And like,
Why?
This is why I gave
it's-
up fan theories years ago.
I'm all for, theory, especially when you have a source material like comic books that goes back like 5 or 6 decades. People are going to theorize about everything. Sometimes they'll be right. And then, everyone will guess a reveal that happens 7 episodes in after the first episode. And then sometimes they'll just like grasp at straws and be like, this person's going to show up and this person's going to show up. And this person's going to show up.
Oh.
Especially when
And
people,
that's all
make
fine.
full videos about it.
Yeah. Which I like. Like, I like, seeing everybody say their theories and I enjoy everybody having fun with it. My only issue is if it doesn't happen, calm down. Because
Yeah.
people will make these theories for 9 weeks and it's like, that's cool. Let's all talk about what we think might happen. This is fun. But then that thing doesn't happen and everyone's like, this show sucked. This was a disservice. You didn't do the thing I wanted you to do. It's like, bro, just calm down.
Yeah, that's not cool. Also, when the show's already made, bro, like
Yeah.
they can't change it. It's already done. Like,
Any final thoughts on WandaVision?
I loved it so much.
It's great. And if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. I also make the recommendation of if you are not a huge MCU fan or if you're just a casual fan, check out Marvel Legends on Disney Plus. They have little recaps about each character, and you can just watch those recaps and then go immediately into watching the show, and you'll feel like you haven't really missed much. I think they already released Winter Soldier and Falcon once for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think they're releasing 2 more right before that show comes out as well.
I do want to mention though, my housemate does not watch these movies. Like she didn't know what had happened really before this, and she still thoroughly enjoyed it. She was like, I don't normally like MCU things, but I really like this. So just
Yeah.
FYI, you could
Nice.
still watch it, not really know what's going on, and enjoy it.
One of my favorite actresses kind of had the same reaction where she hadn't really gotten into the MCU, and then she watched WandaVision and then immediately went to watch all of the MCU movies.
Wow.
Who was
Nice.
this? It's amazing.
Phoebe Tonkin, she's an Australian actress. She's really, really cool.
Yeah, I always wonder with stuff like that because this one just feels like if you didn't watch the movies, I just assume you'd be so lost.
Just go watch Marvel Legends on Disney Plus, and then immediately it'll take you over to the other show. You're fine.
Yeah, that'll definitely fix the problem because they will tell you what you need to know.
I feel like the characters in WandaVision were just isolated enough that you could kind of gather things from. You could gather that there was like some sort of tragedy or something that had happened just within like the asides that characters say. Like it's not like, Captain America's coming through and now you have to know what's going on with him, and Tony Stark is here. Like there weren't even that many references to the wider world, which is why I think it kind of does work. But like I said, they didn't really watch show. There's also Legends, so you can take your pick which angle you'd like to take if you don't normally watch MCU.
And I think that's all we've got for you guys today, guys.
Yes. Man, I was so excited to hear Gabby's thoughts on Lola Bunny. But we'll table that for now. Anyway, audience, thank you for listening to all of that. I apologize that you're missing out on some Lola Bunny content, but you've probably got enough of that over the past week or so. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon and Aya, for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing and loving everything we talked about today, because you are into all of these things.
Some things more than others.
Definitely. Colin, thank you for reminding us that some adults are dumb. Because I guess sometimes you need, I don't know. And Gabby, just thanks for being you. You bring that energy. I enjoy it. You're like our Aquafina.
Oh, great. That's a compliment, right? It's a compliment.
Of course,
Yes.
I just talked about how
Yes,
much I love
that's
Aquafina.
true.
Yes, audience, let us know what you think of Coming to America, Raya and the Last Dragon, WandaVision. Do you think the MCU should bring back Vision with his do-rag? You can let us know the answer to all of these
And a
things
nice chain.
on the medias. And a nice chain, of course, and his turtleneck. You can find us on the medias to talk to us about that. Twitter, y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to know why I'm so excited to hear Gabby talk about Lola Bunny, find me on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba, and I'll tell you.
If you want to talk to me about not Lola Bunny, you can find me, Gabby, on the Instagrams at Stegosaurus.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
It's been different.
Bye.
Bye.